My name is Jutta Tobias, and I'm bringing this course to you because in my research looking at the link between mindfulness practices and performance-related outcomes, I've found that there are a number of scientifically validated techniques based on mindfulness, acceptance and commitment training, and positive psychology that can enhance people's well-being and achievement at work. And I want you to benefit from this insight too. The main outcomes I'm targeting with the exercises in this course are emotional intelligence, resilience, and effective decision-making at work. This is because I found that what makes people successful at work is not just about what they know, or indeed how much they can do. To be successful in today's complex, dynamic, and interconnected world is also about understanding and then managing our own thoughts and feelings in a way that supports and sustains ourselves. And this self-management, as I call it, is an important building block to effectively and sustainably relating to, collaborating with, and inspiring the other people that we deal with in our daily work lives. And here comes the science bit. Up until fairly recently, concepts such as emotional intelligence and resilience were often talked about, and much desired outcomes in management development, but many people found it quite difficult to turn advice that effectively relates to managing our own emotions into action in high-velocity environments. For example, if I were to say to you, just stay calm when you've got 100 urgent things on your work plate, would you know how to? Or would that just make things worse? The innovative piece here is that mindfulness can serve as a valid and reliable catalyst to help people at work become more emotionally intelligent, resilient, and ultimately perform to their potential in ways that are aligned with their personal integrity and with their authenticity. So, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness in a work context is all about creating space. Space to first pay attention to what is actually happening in the situation that we're in. Space to second become aware or remember in the moment what our actual intention or purpose or most important priority is, right here and right now. And third, space to respond with integrity and in the most productive way possible. Mindfulness in my work is the how-to for generating this threefold mental space. Why is this mental space so useful? And why is it increasingly linked with a scientific body of evidence linking it to beneficial outcomes such as well-being and productivity at work? Because by generating just a little bit of extra mental space for yourself and for the others that you work with, you are more open-minded and more psychologically flexible and able to experience the situation at hand rather than judging it prematurely. And the scientific evidence base is increasingly suggesting that it is this open-mindedness or this psychological flexibility that is at the heart of what makes people in today's workplaces do well and stay well. So in the first instance, mindfulness practice is about mental fitness training. What this means is that when people systematically engage in the mindfulness practices that I will explain to you in this course, their brain structure changes in highly functional and measurable ways. Essentially, our brains benefit from mental training in a strikingly equivalent way to how our bodies benefit from physical muscle training. Brain scans can then pick up and detect structural brain changes among people who regularly practice these mindfulness techniques. In my own research at Cranfield University that I conducted with my colleague Andrei Pavlov and with mindfulness trainer Per Norgren, we found that 6 hours of mindfulness-based training significantly enhanced our MBA students' working memory compared to a randomly assigned control group. Working memory? This is a prized commodity for busy executive decision makers. For a person, working memory is the equivalent to the RAM or random access memory chip that you have in your computer. Essentially, the more, the better. What this meant for our executive students was that they were more able to hold lots of different information in their head simultaneously. And that is one of the most reliable predictors of sustainable performance in challenging work situations. So, here's the good news. Even short periods of practicing the mindfulness techniques in this course are demonstrably effective to help busy people at work do well, especially in terms of improving their decision-making skills. For example, researcher Andy Haffenbrack at INSEAD found that if you practice mindfulness for only 15 minutes, you're significantly less likely to fall for the sunk cost bias. The sunk cost bias is a decision-making bias that leads us to stick to bad investments rather than making the more rational choice of cutting our financial losses and moving on. By the way, this bias is also responsible for making many of us keep ill-fitting clothing in our closets and for making us hang on to friendships that have run their course. So what's the bad news? The bad news is that unless you are naturally mindful, this ability needs to be developed and practiced like any other skill. This is why I'm asking you right now to take a large sheet of paper or create an electronic file on your computer or on your smart device. OneNote or Evernote works well for this. And then get ready to jot down your thoughts as you go through the 7 steps that I've created for you. None of the input I've prepared for this course is more than a few minutes long, and all the exercises I will ask you to complete take very little time. The bad news, as I've said, is that you only start reaping the benefit from them if you actively participate, if you actively write down what each exercise means to you, and if you consistently practice what we're covering in this course. If you do this, then at the end of the course, you will have created your own evidence base for your personal mindfulness at work practices. This will not only be motivating, but it'll also help you embed what you will learn, and it'll make it sustainable in your work life. My most important goal for you is to provide you with practical, simple techniques that help you translate the ancient wisdom and the peer-reviewed modern-day science that underlies this course into action. Let's work together to make this happen.